Yep.
All right, man. Let's kick this off. Let's light this fire.
Okay. Well, Daymodius asks, are some of the Gearlock tinkering items purposely not put in the game?
Coming out swinging with a question that I have no answer for. Gearlock tinkering items. All right, you're gonna make me use my Google foo, aren't you?
Day, give us more.
Tell me more. I will literally come back to this, but I need something to go off of. Give me like an item link or something. And when you're getting the item link, get me what expansion it launched in.
Classic Day. Classic.
Yeah, coming out swinging.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that. One Morning Coffee says, will solo self-found / hardcore players still get starter items from the Fading Memory after class selection and or the Simple Ring at level 5?
Yes. So the plan is that the experience for them would be the same experience that you currently have. So you will start out with those things, just like you normally would. So really, it's just a change of what you can interact with and the way in which you interact with it, but nothing else is purposely changed for it.
Mom, I'd just like to point out that Dad just came into chat and he's in public.
Okay. You know what? Dad's gotten better. So,
wow.
You know.
Just wow.
I mean, at least I said you got better.
I don't know how long I have because I'm on phone tethering and laptop battery, but I wanted to be here at least for the pet command stuff.
Oh.
Oh, would you like to get into pet command stuff right out the gate?
I mean, we can.
Since he's here, let's go ahead and do that. You go ahead, Kata. You talk about your pet commands.
Well, I guess the first thing is, were there specific questions asked about them?
Oh, not yet. We just got started on the questions.
Oh, well, I know that. I thought there was a backlog.
There is, but none about pets yet.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, we can wait.
How about this one, Kata? Are you happy? Okay.
Kata balancing questions.
Okay. Listen, you said Dad was being good, so.
No, yeah, good. Great.
Oof.
Okay. All right. So we feel like the One Morning Coffee question has been answered.
Hopefully he's satisfied with that answer. I mean, it's straightforward though, right? So like, yes, you will get the starting items, you will get the ring.
Yep. Okay. All right. Day, did you come up with your... I don't see anything. Oh, we got a link from Day. All right. This is the THJDI recipe 425 Gearlock Alchemy set. Okay. All right. Well,
anything trade skill related is like you're taking your fate into your own hands there on whether it works or not.
Ooh.
So okay. So Gearlock Alchemy set, I don't see any stats on it. Question mark?
It has a skill mod. Those they're tinkered items that give a skill mod to another trade skill.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So easy answer on that. I am definitely not. I don't object to those being in game. We do have someone who wanted to take on the tremendous task of trade skilling. It won't be me and it won't be Cata. Currently, what is available in game for trade skills is what's available in game. But when the correct person comes along and prioritizes them, I'm all about that. I'd love to see them all in game, but definitely not on the priority list right now.
Can you tell me why it's Variety Void in charge of trade scaling?
Oh, dude, I can't wait.
He hates trade skills.
Huge news right there.
Let's
I'm
see.
scared.
All right. As day, let's get Candyman asks, will more skills or even AA abilities be coming to auto skill, i.e. Feral Strike?
Ooh, I haven't heard that one before.
So, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. So the reason why the skills that were included were the skills that were included was because skills, AAs, and disciplines all use wildly different like ways of being interacted with, like in the code, and I wanted to narrow the domain of the problem. I think there's that's not really a design answer. That was a technical answer why they weren't added first of all. I don't know if we're planning on adding AAs. We're probably not ever going to do discs because there's way too much possibility of causing problems with spell casting there. Because it interrupts spell casting when discs are, or it would interrupt other discs with a duration if like an instant disc was activated. That sort of thing.
I know there was a couple of people in here earlier today asking about the interaction with spell casts and auto skilling. And I think I saw in the Discord that the plan is that it would act like it is now, not to have it trigger in the middle of a spellcast.
Yeah. So right now, auto skill happen like it's actually like checked during the auto. At the same time, auto attack is checked. So I'm expecting it to not work while you're casting a spell, and I'm expecting it to work while you're using a bard song. So I don't know if we'll change that or not. It wasn't strictly intentional. That's just yeah.
I think that if it were an easy change to allow it to do that, that would make sense.
Easy isn't exactly the right word. Like medium difficulty. There's a pretty. It's an easy thing to do, but there's a reasonably high chance of introducing bugs.
Fair enough.
So you could get it, but it would break stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's sort of the same answer as to why AAs and discs aren't supported right now, is because it could be done. It's just it would break things, or it could break things. So
here's an interesting.
I wanted to get the feature with as it is out rather than waiting for it to be perfect.
Oh yeah. Okay. Chinchilla asks, will there be an open or public test phase for us to try and break the solo self-found implementation?
That's a good question. Kata, do you have any feelings about wanting to keep any of that?
I would prefer not to do an open test phase, but I think that we should solicit interest from people willing to devote some time to testing.
I think that's fair. So for any of you that are listening that have a genuine desire to test solo self-found and hardcore,
and test doesn't mean play it. It means actively try to break it.
Yeah, and not just actively try to break it, but when you do break it, you type really detailed and valid explanations of what you're doing. I feel it's so we run a tighter ship than most people are used to.
Aporia.
And it's
it just blinked into a commercial.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you subscribers, you now get to hear the sweet dulcet tones of Aporia singing.
God, happened to myself.
We're waiting.
I'm kidding. Darn, right in the middle.
Yeah. Well, it was that I unfortunately started a little late today, so we're off on the time a little bit for the ads. Go. Yeah, there's a reason I don't like testing. It's no fun. If no one else jumps up to break it, though, I want it to be good. Yeah. I mean, I think that actually, maybe we could touch on that a little bit. Like is there a chance you could get, and this is a vastly overblown number, but like, let's say 20, 30, 40 people potentially testing something like that, or would you prefer to keep that like small meal?
It needs to be thoroughly tested, because when this launches, I want everyone to have a good experience with it. So it needs to be tested well.
If there were going to be leaderboards or something like that implemented as well, I think I would encourage, or it makes sense if those leaderboards were not started until perhaps, I don't know, and I don't know what this looks like from a programming perspective, but if those leaderboards could start perhaps a month after solo self-found and things are launched, because, you know, just in case there are bugs or problems, and that way it doesn't immediately like break the possibility of breaking the leaderboard. You know what I mean?
So probably not a month, but I am open to
weeks delay.
You know, yeah, having some type of delay. I mean, realistically speaking, we should see every bug with the number of people that are going to be playing within the first couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. Month was just a spitball. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, you implement that and you don't want it to be degraded almost immediately due to, you know, some unforeseen thing. I mean, look, it's crazy to think. I mean, look at how much Malik and myself and Mihas were spent on the test server, like going through and doing the same stuff over and over and over and over again. And then you put 4,000 people into it and it's like, nope, none of this stuff works. It's like, man, broke it all.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you were a part of that. That way you can fully convey, like, no, we tested it. It really did work.
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference between one person even doing it 10 times and having 4,000 people doing it many times.
At the same time.
When you have 4,000 people doing something, a 1% instance problem will happen 40 times, which that's if all 40 of those people say something, it sounds like it's happening all the time.
And then Cata will tell you that it can't happen.
This is true.
Love you, Cata. Okay. Ads are back up, so we can go back to our question here. Will there be any open public and test? And it sounds like it needs to be tested quite thoroughly. If you want to expand on that again.
Public test. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Was not prepared to go back at that very moment. So when we talk about testing for things, right? Let me go back to the original question. Facebook. So I can see us having some type of larger test, but public, probably not. The problem is that we want real feedback. We want good feedback. And when you have so many people, it's really difficult to make sure the feedback you're getting is valid and useful. So what we found is having too many people test can actually be detrimental to us getting, things fixed. So we will definitely open it up to other people. And we'll, let people know, like, hey, we're going to be testing this. This is what we're doing, X, Y, and Z. But the people that are allowed in have to commit to actually testing, right? Not just playing around. So if you know what that means or you're interested, we can work with that.
Nice. Okay. Did Cata figure out why I have 5,000 hammers on my Shadow Knight? From Teletron. I have no idea what that means. Do you know what it means, Cata?
I know what it means. No. I don't have an answer.
Stop breaking things.
That's disconcerting. Moving on.
Anyway, Wonshi wants to know any way to give classes without extended buff the AAs so clickable items last longer than 10 to 12 minutes.
We have an interesting solution to clickies Wait, did he say clickable AAs or clickies?
He wants extended buffs so that when they click the items and various different things, that it will essentially last longer. They won't get stuck on short durations.
The short answer is no. The longer answer is what Aporia is saying.
We're working on something that's going to be really cool, and that goes in line with clickies and having them last longer. But it's not ready, and you'll be hearing more about it later. But in terms of adding those AAs to other classes, no.
That's hot. I think I know what that is, and that's amazing.
I am personally excited for it, but
K-Swerve says, I love THJ. That said, it seems like there's a lot of people that are unhappy with the pet commands, but the loud majority takes over and is quite toxic towards those who have negative experiences using it. For example, asking a question in OOC and being told to shut the fuck up and you suck, or even specific devs saying, read the change logs, and it has nothing to do with even being an idiot or not reading the change logs. What I would like to understand is how this pet change is objectively better. Ooh, I feel like
sure.
I can answer
So
I
that.
can take this one.
I'll take the first half of this, and then I'll tag you in for the technical aspect. So a couple things here, right? So obviously you had a bad experience, and I'm sorry you did. But you have to remember that your voice is one of thousands. And when we're trying to contend with very real problems, it's not reasonable to expect anyone to stop and give you an explanation, right? We take great care in our messaging, like coming up with actual wiki pages for things before we launch. So you know, there was strong messaging around what was coming. There was documentation around what was coming, and depending on how you ask a question is definitely how you get responded to. Not saying that you in particular did anything wrong. I'm simply using this as an example, so please don't take offense to this. But we encountered lots of people who asked questions first instead of looking for themselves. And when you're dealing with such a large and truly interactive player base, you know, we have to put up some type of boundaries and or guardrails when we're trying to actively fix things, right? So the first half of that question, I'm sorry that happened. But yeah, the response to, you know, read the announcements, that's kind of the default thing to say on patch day, right? Because the majority of people are smart enough to figure out what something does if they take the time to interact with it, just like I'm sure you did, right? Like it didn't make sense until you started playing around with it, and then it made sense. But in terms of why is it objectively better? I can tell you my opinion, but Cata, do you want to? I feel like that question is right up your alley.
Sure. So the previous system for controlling multiple pets was not very well implemented. And obviously I implemented it, so that's my fault. This new one came around when I was tracking down the problem with pet taunt, like the taunt setting not being preserved through zoning, and decided to just start from scratch. The old system had introduced this concept of having a pet that's active, which is the one that was being displayed by the pet window. And it was very confusing for a lot of players as to which commands would be routed to which pet when. So the new system allows you to explicitly route specific commands to specific pets and make sure that your pets are doing exactly what you want them to do all the time, rather than having to frantically target around, make sure which one is active at any given time, and doesn't hide doesn't hide information from you by having the pet window be incorrect or come out of synchronization. I'm honestly not. I'm pretty sure pet taunt is being preserved while zoning, but sorry, this is a question from chat or a comment from chat. But I could be wrong. I've never actually been able to duplicate the bug of it not being preserved through zoning, but the old system was held together with absolute spit and baling twine, and this one is much more robust. So,
are those settings client side or server side?
Yeah, that's actually kind of the problem. The pet state is server side, but what's displayed in the pet window is client side, and in order to change the state of the buttons, you actually have to send the command again. So there's some issues there. So resynchronizing the pet window to make sure it's actually displaying the correct information for your current pet is a non-trivial problem.
I will say that the preservation of like taunt and hold status did break for me just now when I entered Sleeper's Tomb.
Yeah, I kind of that's another reason why I think the new pet command system is just better, because you can make one hotkey that puts your pets into the exact state that you want them to be in reliably every single time. So even if it is not being preserved consistently through zoning, at least you can press one button and fix everything.
Right. And that's what I mean. You can make one hotkey and make it perfect.
Hold and G hold, hold, G hold, focus and spell hold will never preserve through zoning or relogging. That data is thrown away when the NPC object for the pet is destroyed. So anytime you zone or relog. I can make those be preserved, but right now taunt is the only thing that actually gets saved in the database about the pet, and I didn't want to introduce a database schema change with this update. So that's coming down the pipeline, but not on this update. It's expected for hold, G hold, focus, and spell hold to not be preserved.
Okay.
So I guess how this one's objectively better, it's because you can tell every pet exactly what to do all the time in a much more simple way through the use of hotkeys rather than having to do a bunch of manual interaction with the pets.
Yeah, I'll say personally, I was intimidated by it initially, like within the first couple of seconds of looking at it, but after I actually took the time to say, oh my god, and I tried it out, it's actually vastly better. It feels better. I can control the fight. I can control what my pets are doing easier.
Yeah, I really prefer it. Even after using it for just a day, I really prefer it.
I hate pets, and it actually is quite amazing. Okay. LMB Kid says, are you happy with the Zeb balancing, or do you think it may be slightly overtuned, as I know it's meant to be a sweaty encounter, but seems like it really pigeonholes specific combos?
Yeah, no, so it's absolutely overtuned. So we mentioned this a little bit on the previous stream, but basically when you're tuning something, right, like you can have a pretty good hold on how someone's going to do, but there's always this variance of someone doing better than you think or worse than you think. And so when you're setting these encounters up, you've got the opportunity to, well, do we err on the side of making it too easy or err on the side of making it too hard? We decided to err on the side of making it too hard. And we love the challenge that it provided to the people who were way out in front. But I feel comfortable publicly saying, expect some changes to Zeb. We've already talked about some of them, and I feel comfortable sharing, and others we haven't. But just around how much stronger he gets per additional person, expect that to change. And also, just he's not going to become a ton easier, but he is going to be touched in a way that will make it more accessible to more people. So hopefully that's.
We'd rather make him easier for you to team up on than it would be for us to make him easier. It would make him significantly easier to solo. I think is where we landed on that.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Right. Right. And I think, and that's a good opportunity to touch on. We are actively working on making the scaling of loot in non-respawning instances with more than 2 people. We are actively working to make that a better experience. And we touched on that before too. So
Was literally what I was working on earlier today.
yeah. So definitely, yeah, that's going to get touched.
So, just a little added question there. So the goal is to balance him to require multiple people to do, stay away from making him soloable, but also is there a sort of benchmark, or do you have a thing that you feel comfortable sharing out loud, sort of where you're looking for him or what timeline you're looking at to make these changes?
I would expect these changes probably by the end of the weekend. At least
Maybe.
No, I'm not talking about the loot. I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking about difficulty.
Yeah, sure. That sounds right.
But no, I mean, so here's the whole thing, right? And I've had this conversation many times before, but like when we're talking about difficulty, when we're talking about, what's intended, what's not intended, everyone's experience is different, and there's no way around that. The difference between players, even of the exact same class comp in this game on this server, probably amongst the viewers right now, there's a wide chasm between people. And to say, well, it's expected that this person can do this, and then have someone not able to do it, all it does is leave field bats, right? Like that's literally all it does. So what I would say is that expect it to get easier. No, you are not required to bring a full group. Will it be easier with a full group? We hope so. We hope it is. That's the whole point, right? Like we hope it's a little, like it would suck to bring a full group and then just get stomped like you currently do, right? Like that's what I'm getting at. You shouldn't be penalized for grouping to such an extent. So I feel comfortable sharing that much of it. And in terms of even his power on his own, yes, his base power will be tweaked on his own.
Cool. Great. Sin Fallon asks, when you say someone to take on the trade skills, are you referring to just getting the recipes into the database?
Making sure the trade skill items exist, making sure that the trade skill IDs that need to be added don't overlap or interfere with anything we have going on, making sure the trade skill recipes are entered and don't overlap or interfere with anything that's currently working. Like it's mostly database work, yes, but you have to remember you're doing this on a server with over 120,000 characters with millions of items. Like you don't have the leeway to do things that you would normally do, right? Like it's definitely like a measure 20 times cut once scenario when it comes to trade skills.
Pretty cut and dry. Torn Bracelet says, with the event for Emmerich Skyfury in Bastion of Thunder, was it meant to continue to summon ads? And when you die, all the ads are still spawned in?
Let me see that pinned one. Is it meant to continue to summon ads? When you die, ads are still spawned in.
That's easy. No, bug report it, please.
I was going to say that doesn't even sound right. I'm not aware of that though, so
Yeah,
definitely.
bug report. That sounds like a bug. Hasn't been floated before, so please bug report that.
There you go. Retro MMO Trophy Dad says, where did we land on global death messages for scrubs like me that die in the newbie yard on hardcore?
Oh, absolutely. There will be mocking messages whenever you die on hardcore.
Yeah, hardcore is hardcore.
Like
It's
if I have to
for
get an
very-
LLM to figure out how to taunt you uniquely, I will.
It's meant for a very specific mindset of people. And if you don't like that and you don't want that, please don't do it. We do have self-found and solo self-found for you, which in my opinion are hardcore on their own, because it is a much more difficult experience, in my opinion, more rewarding experience, but definitely more difficult experience. So if you want hard, do self-found. If you want harder, do solo self-found. If you want to punish yourself, do hardcore.
Do you still plan on hardcore characters transferring over to no longer being hardcore characters once they die?
Yes. Yeah. If you die, you get laughed at in system-wide message, but at least you still have your character.
Awesome. If your character is self-found and hardcore and you die, do you continue when your character dies? Do you maintain the self-found or?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
And I haven't talked to Cata about this, but I'm okay with maybe even having an option to remove those things. But once you do, there's no going back, right? So that might not be in on launch, but I can totally see us having the option of like, hey, you tried this, it's not for you, but at least your character is not toast. I could definitely see that being a thing.
Cool. Boop Doop. There's no hardcore on the server yet. It is one of the upcoming in the somewhat near future things that they're going to be implementing. So there's a lot of discussion and speculation about sort of how that's going to play out. Speaking of that, we have One Morning Coffee in here. Another quick, simple question. Is it confirmed that server buffs will not be available on hardcore? I assume characters.
Cata, can you confirm that? Is that something we can do?
Yeah, that is very easy to do.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought that was the plan. If you have a strong objection to it, we can there's enough of the design that's still open on those that we can shift around, but I think that's correct. Specifically for hardcore.
Yeah, I think that might be the right thing.
This hamlet shall not fall.
I have feelings on both sides on that. Not 100% certain. I mean, all it does is raise the cap on what we expect players to be able to do, and in the time frame that we expect them to do it. Right?
Yeah, I think that it makes hard. Okay, so with the echo power specifically, I think that that gives a lot more forgiveness to the hardcore mode because it's going to be substantially harder to die early on with echo power.
But at the same time, my concern, and honestly, my only concern, if we don't have those buffs enabled in the beginning, okay, there's certain buffs that people are going to absolutely want to have for hardcore. And it's just, whichever decision we make, it's going to skew the class set that we get on hardcore. So I just want to.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because I think that. So let's take the trifecta option, right? The solo self-found hardcore. I think that making buffers more of an interesting pickup is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I agree. It's just whichever way we go, it's definitely going to impact what people pick, and I'm not sure how I feel yet.
The only thing that I have to say that's maybe in the direction of maybe not doing that is that bards are already really good, and are probably already going to be a pretty good pickup for hardcore.
Yeah.
Clerics are already pretty good and are probably going to be like I think it might just be entrenching those a little bit more.
That's very valid.
I don't think that hardcore should get Echo of Power or Echo of Experience, and I don't think that Self-Found should get Echo of Luck. But
no, so again, so hardcore is players choosing to punish themselves. The other modes are just fun, right? They're fun challenges. So I don't think we really have to worry about that. But doing things for hardcore, I get.
Here's an idea. What if they don't get them as server buffs? They have to individually buy them with platinum.
Oh, bring back the individual buff.
Yeah, bring back individual buffs of the server buff for platinum for hardcore characters. Because
I'll tell you what, I think this is an important discussion to have. Maybe we'll do the rest of it. Yeah, let's do it off.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that there's a more interesting design space there than just, oh no, they don't get them. I guess is the summary.
I fucking love you guys. That's great. I love the something that these guys do a lot is they really break things down and they see an opportunity to make something even more magical than it already is, and you can see the gears turning. That's great. All right, so next up is Rego Streams. Can we please have a better way to monitor all 3 pet healths at once now with the new system?
Yes. So I've actually been talking to someone who prototyped what I've been suggesting for a minute. That someone that I didn't have time to get done, and they got it working. So expect to see that in at least the default UI relatively soon. It is a replacement for Hotbar 0, which includes your 3 pet health bars, and then you can put your pet commands and hotkeys on it. It's basically roll your own pet control window.
That's super cool.
The only thing it doesn't do is have buffs, but like buffs is like a buff bar thing, and I don't think we can make that happen, but we'll see.
Wow. That's cool. Next up, Centaur97 asks, love the auto skill. Any chance we can get some of the 20 to 30 second AAs added to auto skill, i.e. Feral Swipe, 30-second refresh, Chameleon Strike, 20-second refresh? My keyboard would love you.
So we touched on this earlier, but to give you the short of it, it's a potential future thing, but it's certainly not right now. So what I would say is just enjoy auto skill doing auto skill. And if it comes, great.
Yeah. And to add to that, they did the question they answered earlier basically is it's something that can get looked at, but there's a lot of moving pieces with it. And so by doing it, it could break a whole lot of other things. So it takes more attention than granting just auto skill, which already took a lot of attention.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's an important piece.
Edzilla asks, it feels like you want Zeb to be a raid encounter of sorts. Is that true? And if so, will there be more raid targets? I say raid
yes,
as in multiple players needed to defeat it.
Yes. Next.
Okay. Crazy.
I don't want to leave it that broad because people will get scared. But basically, the core principle remains the same. Progression targets will always remain soloable or within the range of solo, right? Capstone content. So for pop, that's Plane of Time. will always be solo/duo, and then custom content. Custom content is where we get a little weird with it, right? Because we're talking about doing a custom encounter that you guys may be seeing within the next few weeks. But talking about doing a custom encounter that can be soloed, right? Kind of like what we saw with Cara. And now that pop is open, we're seeing more people do Saru. However, we think there's a really cool space with once we get group scaling and raid scaling correct, okay? Once we do that, I think there's a really cool space to explore some of these encounters with more people. I never want to force people to have more than one person to even have a chance at doing something, but you will see something like that in custom content, because the bottom line is this is a solo duo server. That's the whole reason that this exists. We're not going to alienate 99% of the people that play just because we think, well, raid content is cool. It's honestly the only reason we can even consider it right now is just the sheer volume of people we have playing, right? Like, it would probably be a pretty positive experience for most people if we did it correctly, but that's not what we're doing, right? That's not what this server is. So even though Cata gave you that short answer in the beginning, it's a solo duo server.
Oh yeah. Virus asks, will solo self-found start out on its own line of progression to unlock starting at classic through to pop, or will it just start where your account does and require a new account made?
So Cata is a bit of a genius, and already has it to where you can participate in solo self-found on the same account that you already have, except you will not have any of the bonuses from that account. So a solo self-found character will not gain the benefit of any of your banked AA. You won't be able to access the shared bank. You won't have any of the progression unlocks, and you won't have any of the account-wide waypoints. So basically, you're starting fresh. So a solo self-found character, everything that we took the time to make account-wide basically becomes character again.
Hey, I'm stepping away for a few minutes. Sorry about that.
You got it, man.
All right, quick guys, all the balance questions.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Malik asks, thanks for the AUG drop changes. Killed Saru. Getting 2 AUGs felt rewarding for the effort.
Awesome. I'm glad. I mean, not for nothing. And it's funny when people get really mad about things that they haven't voiced to us. Like, we are not unreasonable, right? Like, just let us know your feelings. Let us know the why. It's not always going to be yes, but you won't know until you ask.
I almost just asked a really, bad question.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait.
I know where that's going.
You still have internet, buddy.
Yeah, I know. We're so far so good.
Nice. Okay. Free Juice asks, do you foresee any changes to drop rates for legendary quality AUGs from Cara? They're becoming much more expensive and difficult to acquire. Sorry if this has been asked before.
So we've talked about this, and with demand continuing to go up, we've talked about maybe we're not going to increase the min drop, but we may increase the max drop, meaning that there might be a small chance, just like how Saru can now drop more than one, that Cara might drop more than one. But that's not necessarily like I'm not sold on that one because Cara is very much within range of anyone who is progressing the content even on their own, right? It's just a different cap on difficulty. So I could see that happening, but it's not something that I'm like launching tomorrow, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just something to put in there, and I wouldn't expect any kind of answer or anything on this, but I would say because the pool of Augs is so large on Cara, and, you know, I mean, you can make multiple characters and do it multiple times a day, but I would still say that like legendaries, especially the valuable ones that are selling now for like 300, 350, 375,000 platinum just to get a hold of one. You know, you're only seeing that all. I mean, I've actually still never seen some of those Augs drop.
Yeah, I never got a Firo Og, and I've done it 3 times a day for 3 months now.
I do, and well, yeah, right. And this is just like, hey, this is some information to maybe put into consideration when you guys are talking about this. But I will say that is it's really difficult. It makes some of those Augs like unattainable, essentially. But
Ooh. That's valid. And that's probably why you will eventually see those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see a spicy question and I want to answer it.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, do it. Toast me. Okay. So are we going to continue making content for only 0.1% players?
Oh God.
No, this is good. So
Oh, no.
No, this is good. I want to answer this seriously, though I have I really want to answer it. So I can understand how some people who have actually made it to the end of pop kind of have this feeling. And so I feel 2 different ways about it, right? We have a massive player base in terms of time availability, knowledge of the game, and ability. Okay. There's a lot of players who, if that content didn't exist, would have already moved on. I know that we're talking specifically about Zeb, right? But I challenge you on this. The tens of thousands of hours that have gone in to developing the hero's journey, right, was not for the 0.1%. It was for everybody. And just because we chose to make a difficult encounter that is challenging, that even before you wrote this question, have already discussed making changes to it, and that we purposely made it more difficult than what you would have expected, right? So I understand, you know, being a little like, you made something that I can't do. And I get that. Because as a player, like, not for nothing, I can't solo Zeb. Like, I know almost more about this than 99.99% of the people playing. I can't solo Zeb. That's just, it is what it is, right? But specifically, when we are developing content, especially custom content, we want to make sure it's a balanced approach. And that's why the next custom encounter you find is going to be on the level of probably plane of time, sub plane of time, probably even tier 3, like somewhere in there. But it's going to be doable by the majority of people. So you could expect something that is more mechanic heavy instead of raw power checking, if that makes sense.
I'm back. Can I jump into this a little bit?
I'm hesitant.
Yeah. Have we said it? Have we talked about where the development time for and the development effort for Zeb came from? Like, is that something we talked about publicly?
The development one.
Not,
Sorry.
not specifically like who did Zeb, but like that, like kinda who did Zeb. Like,
Oh, Brett.
yeah. Because
I mean,
I didn't know if that was public info or not.
Yeah. No, we gave him a shout.
I think it's really important to point out here that Zeb was a donation to the server. He was that encounter was not done by Aporia and I for the most part. That was done by someone who wanted to flex making an encounter. That same person still hasn't beaten the encounter on production. Just for clarity, it's not like he made something specifically he could beat or something stupid like that. He enjoys making those kind of fights, and it didn't cost us anything to add in terms of delays to pop, and it's something that we could do for people who want it. Whether that portion of players is 0.1% or 1% or 70%, does it really matter? It's there, and just because it's more difficult doesn't mean it's bad. Like I don't even get where that's coming from.
Okay. Well, okay. So to kind of add on to that too, right? So I said it in the beginning, like the hero's journey is not a TLP for the sake of being TLP, right? There's going to be a point in time where we're sitting in Omens of War and people are
joining in there in Classic.
Right. And also people are going to be going back and like soloing Zep, right? Because it is a custom encounter that still exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's to contribute to the overall experience of every type of player. The majority of what we do, the large majority of what we do, is for the 99.99% of players. So
it just might not be for them today.
Right. And you can rest assured that when we make decisions, like the bigger decisions, not like a single encounter, every balance decision that I've ever made going into this, right, has been because we want people to be able to engage, access, and have fun with the content.
If we were going to make balance decisions around, we introduced this capstone fight and people are beating it that we don't think should be allowed to beat it or something, pets would like there would have been nerfs done a long time ago around Saru. Let's put if we made balance decisions that way, but we don't. We make balance decisions around the majority of players' experience with the game, not the extreme outliers.
Right. So there you go. I wasn't going to answer it, but I think it's important to tackle those types of questions because there's lots of feelings.
Me too. It's big feels, and just because the big feels are irritated doesn't mean that they're not valid.
Sure.
And on to a lighter question, which Kat already answered a little bit, but Chinchilla wants to know, what's your favorite starting city in Norath?
Oh, Ariaden for sure.
I'm gonna go G-Fay.
Nice.
I always loved Treefort City. Love.
I think Calethan's number 2 for me for sure.
Love.
Void?
Oh, dude, Calathan for sure.
I thought it was the Karanas.
Not really a starting city per se, but
It's for you.
it is for sure. Home of the pearl necklaces.
EQ2 report was pretty awesome.
Did you see that, Aporia? Did you see all those nice pearl necklaces in the world with Variety Void's name all over them?
Yep. I hope you did, because I feel the love for sure.
In the least, the warmth.
Oh my
God.
Have you inspected a pearl necklace recently, Aporia?
I can't say that I have, but
Oh, you should sometime.
You really should, yeah.
I'll make sure to get right on that.
Oh boy. All right. Joe King asks, what is the database that they use for EQ? And what kind of time do you need for testers with people that real life jobs, but have experience with testing software and games and love to help. What kind of time?
So people that have limited time would need to test very specific things, right? If you've done testing for software and games before, you know that sometimes it's running the same thing over like 50 different times, right? So that's so funny. I get interrupted by the other question. I wonder if the name Sulka has anything to do with sulking, because it's very on point. So you can still test, right? But it's going to be specific, and we would have to direct you a little more. So as Solo Self-Found gets closer to launching, we'll go ahead and put feelers out there, and we'll go ahead and,
my own 2 cents on that. Sorry, I cut you off. I'm a bad person. My own 2 cents on that are that it doesn't really. I think the amount of time you have to test isn't really as important as if you understand testing methodology and are actually there to test, and give good reports on those tests, not just, hey, I get to play this mode early.
Okay.
And as to the first part of the question, what database we use for EQ, we're running on a modified ACK stack, which uses MariaDB for the database.
Can you explain that a little bit for someone who's dumb like me?
Yeah, what?
Is that a no? Is that a no? You're too dumb.
I said no. I there's really not a way for me to explain that in a way.
I encounter that with Cata a lot. Could you explain that differently, maybe? And that's just what it is.
I mean, that's.
Break up.
What do you want?
Hold the line.
Sorry.
This hamlet shall not
Sorry, you're
fall.
really dumb, and there's no possible way for you to understand this. Moving on. Okay. All right. Good.
Just prayer.
Okay. Let's see here. Rigo Streams asks, what if we made it to where we can pull Cara with all 4 warders like Saru 4/4 to boost the chance for that double log?
I'm actually fine with that, but the problem with that is, if Aporia is fine with that, I will delegate making that happen, but I'm not doing it myself. I don't have time to work on that.
I think, honestly, I think just increasing the max of it potential drop to 2 is fine. I don't think we needed that.
Do we want to do that? Do we want to change the min drop or the max drop?
I think we do.
Okay, well, I asked you earlier and you said no, so.
Well, see, that's the fun thing, right? When I'm presented with information, my opinion can change, like a good human being.
Oh, you're a human.
Horrible.
Okay.
Horrible. How dare you?
I thought you were a dark elf.
I'm rigid in my opinions, never wavering. Yeah, indeed, Q. I saw this question and I just want to I put the answer up already on the screen, so I just want to
Okay.
It's
advocates would definitely work for that question.
It's over there.
The real answer is that I'm going to be adding EQ types for the missing stats. So they will be visible in the default UI and the one UI that I maintain. And if you want it in a different UI, you'll have to ask the UI maker to add them.
Oh,
Sick.
Expect those EQ types in the next update. I think it's War and Attack and a couple other stats. I don't remember offhand which ones they are, but I'll find out. I'm pretty sure I can just find someone angry in general and have them tell me.
So we have someone maintaining all of these really cool things. We really need to snag ourselves a UI guy.
Yeah, I agree. We should find a UI guy because working with his UI system is cancer.
Yeah, so
do
officially,
it.
love your verbiage. Officially looking for a UI guy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, UI person. UI being.
well, guy is gender neutral. Guy is not a gender term. Yeah, guy.
I look forward to hearing more about that offline.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely offline.
According
Nope.
to, like, the Oxford English Dictionary.
Nope.
Moving on.
Well then.
Nope.
Well then.
Okay. K Swerve asks, will there be any stat changes to gear coming in the future so that people actually spend time gearing up through expansions? For example, I feel like it shouldn't be possible for me or others to clear a plane of time by day 3 of Planes of Power release. Not saying content needs to be harder, but maybe we need to be a lot weaker going into a new expansion.
So that's a design decision, right? If you are at the cutting edge of content before new content is released, you are going to steamroll, and that is just the way it is. Now, pretend you're not. Pretend you haven't been like stockpiling gear for 4 months and have 8,000 AA as you enter this, right? Like, this goes back to the whole, this is not a TLP, right? You're experiencing it as a TLP right now in this moment, right? But again, anyone who's joining today, it's not the same experience as you. They're not sitting at Classic for 2 months, getting insane gear, and then plowing through Kunark. Most people are getting to like 48 or so, killing Nagy and Vox, and then kind of playing around in Kunark, and then kind of like, oh, well, maybe I should just go straight into Velius, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should actually farm this gear first. And then there's other people who are like, I just started and I know that I can farm 500 plat an hour by going straight here, and I'm going to buy the best thing off the bazaar, and they're literally going to be in top within a week. Like, and that's okay. Like, that's totally legitimate. Like, people enjoy playing in different ways, and it's important that we look at the hero's journey as a whole instead of just one aspect that someone might be experiencing it through.
Good explanation. Like that. There's a lot of perspectives that we often don't think of as players. Like, we don't really look, because we experience the game the way that we do. We don't always look at some of the bigger pictures and some of the side stuff that also contributes to the decisions that are being made. So, I mean, that's why we do these Q&As, I think, right? You know, like, it gives that additional aspect. Okay. Torn Bracelet says, would you guys be able to add in a specific DZ where we can fight the unchanged bosses?
What changed bosses?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Which I was going to say.
What changed bosses?
I think this stems from the fallacy that people think that we made bosses easier so that they're
just not much stronger.
Yeah, we didn't. The only thing, and I actually, someone had mentioned this. It was either on a YouTube video or Reddit or something. But there was this like, oh, they made this encounter too easy. Like, no. You're thugging that hard, man. The only thing that we have done is removed things like banishes, death touches, 30-second stuns, 30-second silences, mechanics that would otherwise like remove your ability to participate in the fight.
Nice. New ad says, another fun one. What's your favorite zone in the game?
That's a good question. Favorite zone in the whole game, man. I have a few answers that came to mind, and they're all tied to memories. I remember seeing Neriak Third Gate with the little waterfall and the floating eye and the different dark styled guild masters, and then like the cleric guild hall in the middle of the water with a little bridge. Like I don't know. I started as a dark elf, and I always thought that Third Gate was the absolute coolest. But that, I don't know. I don't think it's a proper assessment of like every zone. That's just the first thing that came to mind.
Cata?
I'm still thinking, honestly. My off the cuff answer will probably explain a lot about me. Which is my off the cuff answer is Vexthal.
What?
Yeah.
Genuine concern. Genuine.
I think nostalgia wise, Plane of Sky.
Oh, yeah.
But like actual mechanics of Vexthal.
You literally just picked like 2 of the least favorite zones in EverQuest history.
All of this tracks. Like,
Yeah, it fits. Yeah.
Well, the TLP should be highly enjoyable.
I also really enjoyed Ukwa.
Ukwa? You really are
Oh.
Ocean God Chantry?
Yeah, Ukwa. That was a fun zone.
Ah. What?
Okay. Wow.
Huh. So Ukwa is going to be the new secret boss zone for Gates of Discord. Is that what I'm hearing?
Actually, I don't have any ideas for a secret boss in Gates of Discord. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's such like a linear zone with like no sort of side quests, for lack
Make
of
it
a better term.
a random archer, since they already run faster than Bard speed. Make it like a random archer that just chases you down as fast as Zeb does and just kills you instantly. Just
I
dead.
think I have to say that I know this is off topic, but my favorite thing about the Zeb encounter is the just like absolute like Florida man zombie vibes that Zeb has.
He runs that dude. It's wild. It's wild. We actually, after we beat Quarm almost every single time on stream, we engage him just so he can like run over and eat our face.
Yeah, literally, it's Florida man and bath salts, just dead.
He runs at you before you even realize what happens. You're done. It's great. Let's see. We've got another fun one. What is your favorite encounter in Pop?
Ooh.
These are good too because we got a commercial in 30 seconds.
I thought it was going to be, what's your favorite scary movie?
I can go first on this one if you're still thinking.
Do it.
Saren. Plane of Torment Saren.
Ooh.
Pain Mama. Okay.
A little bit of history on me, like, so back when I played live, like, I really wanted the stupid mage-only shield from Saren, to the point where, like, I started running open raids for that zone, and so, I don't know, just a lot of nostalgia there.
So not the S&M stuff.
The pain and suffering, the
Not
encounter.
really. That's not really my vibe.
Cata likes his muscle mommies confirmed.
Oh boy. Yeah, we're in an ad now, so please continue.
That's amazing.
Ukwa, Plane of Sky, and
Vexthal.
Vexthal. I am genuinely just like, what?
Yeah.
It's like someone took the bad list of zones and flipped it upside down and was like, you know what? That's the shit right there.
To be fair though, Vexthal's like architecture and the feel of the overall zone is really, really cool. It's just
it's very unique. I'll give you that.
The mechanics of the actual zone kind of blow. But
You also have to remember, I experience all these zones, like, as a GM character that doesn't have to interact with the NPCs.
yes.
Very skewed perspective for sure.
that does show, because you don't have to deal with those mechanics that are. I killed it.
Exactly.
It spawns another guy. I killed it. It spawns another guy.
You know what I like? I love enemies that spawn enemies, and enemies that spawn enemies, and enemies that spawn enemies.
I also play blue in Magic the Gathering, so.
Oh,
That also tracks. Yep, everything about this tracks.
How many counter spells did you have in every deck?
So the pet deck I'm working on right now is actually a blue-white control deck that runs 0 counter spells.
Yeah, but 100 swords to plowshares or something. I don't know.
It's a commander deck for Chun-Li, so you get to like swords every turn, and bounce and path and whatever every turn, forever.
I'm old.
relevant to Magic, Kata. What are your thoughts on the crossovers they keep doing?
No comment.
Oh God, don't get us sued.
Okay.
Man, I haven't played Magic since right before 5th edition came out. Like, I think that's where I quit.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's a fun game, and I've gone back and tried to play like the online version, which is neat. But I don't know, what is this card? I don't even understand. I have like planeswalkers now or something, and I do stuff. It's
It's all
weird.
about collecting the cards, man. Collecting the cards is the best.
Who's your favorite Pokemon, V?
Shut up.
No, I'm seriously. That's a genuine. Mine is Snorlax. Like, if you didn't know, I have a Snorlax onesie that I wear on stream sometimes. Yes, it's true.
Are you saying Starlax?
Snorlax.
Snorlax.
I was going to say because that isn't a real Pokemon. Starlax isn't a real Pokemon because there's only 151 Pokemon.
Oh,
Oh, you're one of those.
Okay.
You're one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone tries to tell you
Purist.
anything different is lying to you.
Oh, you're a purist, yeah, for sure.
Yikes.
My God. Okay, back for meds.
Hello there.
Hello.
Bro.
Okay. Ooh, we've got another Solka question. How do I find out what my Warren attack is now? No, we already did that one. We already did that one. I thought I deleted that one. Well, fine. We have another Solka question too then. Here, how about this one?
Oh my
What was
God.
the most difficult challenges to get pop working for THJ?
Well, there were two big things, right? So we literally changed everything to be account scoped buckets. Huge shout out to Kingly, but then all the problems that came with that. And then also enabling zone state saving. Huge shout out to ACK and the other people from EQ Emu on that. But that also introduced a shit ton of bugs. So it was bug fixing the many encounters brought on by some great quality of life changes.
Let me just say, I'm pretty sure every single time, even multiple times a day, that I logged into Plane of Time while testing, like every single time something like massive had to be fixed because of either the zone states or the things that it modified or adjusted because of the way Plane of Time works. Like, it's not a, remember with all the flagging and everything and all the raid locks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh boy.
We changed so much for pop behind the scenes. I don't know if it feels that different from the player's perspective, but I cannot overstate how many moving parts went into getting pop working the way we wanted it to work. Because I'll take a moment to digress here a little bit. One of the things that we've gone into THJ as like a project is not accepting, well, that's the way it's always been, as a good reason to keep something broken or keep something not working quite right. So
Thank God. It shows. It actually shows.
Closing up all those little loopholes and idiosyncrasies has been it's an ordeal, and it's ongoing.
For sure. And gonna throw out another shout out to Lackadin. So it's funny, like there are so many people that participated, contributed, that helped make this great. And I don't think I have shouted him out yet, but that in-game journal, dear Lord.
And it was
let
done
me tell
completely.
you.
No one asked him to do it.
No,
which was the craziest thing about it. He just like showed up. It was like, hey, I did this thing. It's an in-game progression guide because POP is kind of complicated. Okay,
Huge.
Deal.
awesome.
yeah, absolutely wild. Loved it.
I'm just gonna drop Mijas too, because that motherfucker, every time I logged in, he was there.
I think without Mias, we would have been a month delayed on POP. Even after the first delay, we would have had to delay again.
Yeah, we had
At an absolute minimum.
I said it before, right? So we have 20 CSTs, we have 7 guides, we have like 16 contributors, and there's out of all of those people, there's probably only 4 that didn't contribute, and that's because they're dealing with like very real life stuff. Like everyone
one of them's
on the
deployed,
team,
and like it's wild. Some of the problems they're dealing with.
Yeah. So it's just been, it's been wild. It's been great. But like I said, though, to get back to that question, all the great changes that we make have a tendency to break something else. And then it's like, well, we don't want to get rid of a great thing. So now we have to fix that something else.
Yeah. And it cascaded almost every time.
Yep.
Alrighty. Darksider 2008. Anyway, for people who are just coming into the server, been here 2 weeks, almost 3, and love it, by the way, that we can get some of those 100 slot bags you handed out to people like VV. And I know Broken needs one too. Where did this come from?
100 slot bag.
Yeah, whoa, I want a 100 slot bag. Where do I get a 100 slot bag from?
The 100 slot bag that I spent my own EOM on?
You holding out on me, VV? You holding out on me?
Can I give a short answer to this one?
Never.
They don't have one. The
Well,
only 100 slot bags in game are the little pouchies, the auto sell that we just had.
If the questionnaire is referring to the 50 slot bag that VV has and Broken doesn't, just be playing when we hit Easter, when the Easter event comes out.
Oh, he dropping secrets on air.
That's all I'm saying. Just be playing for the Easter event. I don't know.
Secrets on air. Oof.
Is it a giant Easter basket? Is that why it's 50 slot?
Man, I'm just saying, if you want a 50 slot bag, you probably want to participate in the Easter event. That's all I can say.
Man.
Broken, you don't even have to get punched to death for this.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that person got what was coming to him.
Broken will tell us about bags right after streaming, I'm sure.
Okay.
I want 300 slot bags. What the fuck?
I know. What?
So I will say that 50 slots are probably the largest that you're going to see with any kind of regularity.
Yeah.
There's some limits to the UI. Some of you may have noticed a bug where, excuse me. Some of you may have noticed a bug where if you have the storyline window open, and there's too many links in the storyline window, like some of your other UI elements might glitch out. A similar thing can happen with having too many bag slots. So the 40 and 50 slot bags are about as big as we can go on a regular basis.
32-bit client, baby. Yee.
Ooh. Wait.
No, actually, the Larian Song client has the same problem.
Really?
Yeah, so there's a limited number of render handles in the UI engine, and it's just a statically nailed up buffer, and they just haven't bothered increasing it. So it is what it is.
Love it.
Just gonna leave this up here for a second. Just, no particular reason. It's nice. Let's see here. On live. Oh, go ahead.
I've got time for one more question.
Okay. Nerd Navigator asks, on live, they eventually added a fast logout when camping when in a non-combat zone like POK or Bazaar. For as alt-friendly this server is, it still takes quite a while to switch characters with the /camp command. Could there be any way to cut out that wait time if we are in such a zone?
Yeah, I'll look into that. In fact, if you want to open a bug report about it so that one of the guides does a escalation to put it on my list, then that'll make it easier to track. But there's no reason not to do that.
Hell yeah, nerd.
I think we talked about that previously before Cata, and it had something.
So Maze put in a PR for it, and supposedly it worked, and then like he poofed and it never worked. So I took it out at some point, or took out the vestigial parts of it at some point. And just haven't had a chance to circle back to it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
And with that, I'm gonna bow out. I gotta go put my kids to bed. But y'all have fun.
Have a good night, brother. Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kata. We love you.
100 or 50 slot bags.
Yeah, 50 slot bags full of pearl necklaces is what I heard.
That's a lot of platinum. Let's do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you heard him. You heard him, guys. I'll put I'll post something in my Discord of all his character names so you guys can make sure he gets them all. Free juice. I ask this in Discord and in game a lot, but Mythmar sword glam, please.
Oh,
True.
So one of the many talented people that we have, Tack, has done some really awesome things with previously unavailable weapons. Things that were tied directly to an NPC's model. He's been able to actually create. So that might not be unfeasible.
Hot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually excited for that. They might actually convince me to start gambling.
Cata pinging me about not spoiling things too hard has to be the most ironic, hilarious thing that's ever been done.
Hey guys, just be around for Easter. Hey, Aporia, try not to spoil everything for everybody, all right?
If you like 50 slot bags, you better be here for Easter, Aporia. Don't spoil nothing, okay?
I mean, are we able to get details on how long the event may be by chance? That's not really spoiler-ish. It's just a time frame.
Yeah, so I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We are avoiding any conflicts with Daybreak's TLP launch. So it will be done by their TLP launch. And it will probably start around possibly just before Easter or on Easter.
I just asked because I'm taking a vacation and I don't want to miss out the one weekend.
I'll say this. I'm not gonna overshare, but I will say this event has components to it that will seem familiar, but it also has it has two things that we've never done before.
Ooh.
So it'll be cool.
Okay, Broken Stoic question here real quick. Is there any chance or any thought on like the title rewards and things like that and announcing those prior to the events? Or is it preferred to keep them secret?
No, it is secret. At this point, people understand kind of how things run, but at the same time, a big part of everything here is not everyone knows how everything works. And in fact, most people don't know how things work. It is the single source of the most frustration, but yet also the mysticism that makes people love it. Because it's so funny. I think that's one thing that we have going for us today. Like, it is an open source project. It's based on something that's been around for 25 years, but yet every day, there are so many questions about things that people don't know. It's a part of the allure. it's a part of the compelling content, as it were.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Cap'n Cube asks, here's a future question regarding Gates of Discord. Will you be releasing more AAs since the content was geared for a level increase that never happened? Or do you think the current AAs will be enough to be able to do the content?
I firmly believe that the current AAs will be enough to do the content. However, we've discussed going to level 70 with GOD. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I can say this. One way or the other, regardless of how we do it, there will be enough player power available to progress. And it'll be good. It'll be fun. There's a lot of things that come out in GOD as well in terms of focus effects and augs and things that are going to greatly affect how many classes play.
Perfect. Arizimus asks, any thoughts about changing direct damage spells to be similar to the new dot casting, i.e. fast cast with a cooldown? Dots feel so good that DD spells now feel painful, or a little painful, waiting for that extra 1 to 2 seconds. Yeah, I know.
So we've discussed this. Something probably needs to happen to DD spells. We haven't landed on what that is yet. Kata and I mean, we've tossed around things like cast time plays into total damage done, or the level and mana cost of the spell are more heavily weighted than normal. You know, like, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of ideas that we've kind of spitballed back and forth, but the reality is that there's a lot of class comps that are still hard casting DDs, even though there are some class comps that now only want to spam dots, and it's typically the hybrid classes, people that don't necessarily focus on them, are trying to eke out a little extra DPS from sim strikes. But yeah, so we're not opposed to doing something to hardcast DDs, but as of right now, we're letting this simmer for a bit.
Cool. Xiao wants to know if you have any plans for a title if you combined the Crucible.
Is there not one?
Oh.
So I know for a fact we did a title for the one that was discovered today. Did we not do one for the Crucible? Grats Riker, by the way.
Yeah. Big Daddy Riker got it. There is definitely a title for the Crucible, so saith the Cata.
Oh.
I didn't get a title.
Okay.
Yep. Bye, Xiao.
We'll make sure you get your title, Xiao. Don't you worry. There is one for the Crucible because Cata accidentally triggered it.
It's true. Since Cata's in chat, what's your favorite format for Magic the Gathering?
We'll give him a minute to answer that. So I love Magic, and my favorite format by far is draft play. So I do drafts or Winston drafts. That's the only real Magic that I play anymore.
Cata says Commander is the only format. I don't know.
Of course it's Commander. Did you think it was going to be anything but Commander?
Okay. Harambe says, Don't know if they are aware or if I should do a bug report, but I got summoned under the ground in PON in the tunnels, and Rewind didn't get me out.
Yeah, that's been a pain point for us for a minute. We even had a very talented person, Trust, who runs Wayfarer's Haven, do a pass on the zone to try to make it better. But unfortunately, some of them bugs, it doesn't matter what we do, they're gonna kind of stay. So if you get into a situation like that, unfortunately, your best bet is probably to just bazaar out and then look for some guide intervention on a DZ reset.
Yeah. Real talk. And if Trust was saying that it's too hard, then I hate to tell you this, but it's probably too damn hard. That guy's done some wizardry. K Swerve. Is there a way to create account bound items? Like if someone had 300 EOM worth of bags and wanted to pass one to an alt?
So fun fact, EOM can be transferred to other characters. You can parcel it. You can put it in your shared bank, right? If you had a bag that you wanted to get some EOM back for, you could sell it back to the vendor at like 80% value. But account bound items, it's something that comes up often, but the answer right now is no. And if there are account bound items, they're going to be very specific ones that we implement for a very particular reason.
Ooh.
Ooh, you gotta wait. What part of that didn't you know, K-Swerve? Type it out.
Mm-hmm.
We can go to the next one until
Yeah. Sulka asks, with Dad gone, can you go into the coming class changes? But Dad's still here.
No, not right now. But I can tell you that. So it's funny. They're technically class changes, but we didn't, consider them as such. But the decision to put LON spells in as rewards for Parchment was, we were talking about implementing some of those as parts of balance passes, but we decided to just let them all be in. So that was a thing.
I appreciate it. Dad's Matt. Muted. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. Centaur97 says, can we get a plat sync where we donate 10k or so plat and VV's inventory or parcel is just filled with pearl necklaces?
As long as I get the platinum, sure. Yeah.
I could totally see an NPC called the Jeweler in Bazaar.
Oh my
and
god.
you have to give it plat. And after so much plat is accumulated, it sends out designated jewels to the individual recipient.
Designated jewels.
Oh boy. Can he be standing next to a pool table? Love you, Void.
Oh, hey, so hold on. Someone said something that just triggered a question. Malik, my paladin wants his 5% healing aura back. Hey, Malik, and chat, are there any auras actually active in game right now?
There were before you guys pulled the gates spells out.
Okay, so if anyone knows the name of those spells that were in, I'm terrified that some didn't get removed. If you could help us with that, I will send you EOM.
Oh, ooh.
Bard song. There's a Bard song. It's on the Bard vendor. Don't hate me, everyone.
Broken right off the bat. All right.
Acadius, are you still listening? Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Broken, you rat.
So listen,
Oh, man.
compile all these auras, get them to me. I'll get some EOM out. It's muy importante.
Sell out.
Look at Cadius. I'm working on fixing other issues for you guys. Well, you know what? I haven't done this before, and I probably should have. So, some of you don't know that Acadius is the one that is currently hosting our servers. Now, they are in an actual data center, and I just wanted to call that out because he hosts servers, not just for EQ, but if you need like server hosting, like reach out to that man. He is phenomenal. He is incredible. And I know there are some Monsters and Memories people listening right now. Like, you cannot find a better suited individual to make sure you have the absolute best setup, period. There you go.
Acadius, are your pants tight?
He can neither confirm nor deny.
We're not moving on until you do confirm or deny.
But we got a blue heart. That's hot.
Okay. Let's see. I approve of this vendor. I think it's a great idea. Let's see. Vato? Is there a way to make the Signet quest repeatable per step so you don't have to complete an earring, then start over for the next one?
Yeah, there's absolutely a way to do that, and we are absolutely not going to do that. But I do appreciate the question. The reality is that we don't want someone doing trade skills on a character and then just owning the market because they did like 100 steps at the same time. It just feels weird.
Ooh, mother lover. Cata is my best friend, and this is the one we're going to next. Cata says, can you add a 100 AA consumable AA that adds to item XP when activated?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Hold on. The day that you even get 100 AA on a character, you can ask me these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's not a terrible idea, but still.
How many AA does he have on a static character? Does he even have 100?
Is he not? Yeah, I could have sworn he had. Oh.
Oh, this is awkward. I got 100 AA today.
Yeah, okay. Who's power leveling you, huh? Was it Jeff? Ozuri?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We definitely got to.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we definitely got to level 60. Yeah, we definitely got to level 60. Oh, did you see them clearing frickin' Sleeper's tomb last night?
I did not expect that. But
oh man,
Well,
yeah.
it's
Black
about
and Blood,
pretty
thank you so much for the gifted sub to One Morning Coffee. Appreciate you, big dog. All right, next.
But to honestly answer that though, we are looking into things you can use your AA for. We just haven't settled on something that we both really like.
Can I, if I legit send you like 50 things, or should I make it 10? I mean, there's so many things that I can think of that would be so cool to do, like different things to chase for people, which are non-power relevant. Like,
you make a list.
All right, I got you. Nerd Navigator asks, have you had conversations about the BIC augs in GOD? Oh, yes. The, what is it? Breakdown in communication augs in Gates of Discord, i.e. will they be left alone as is? And for those that put in the time to get multiple, can they do that, or will they be lore?
Yeah, no, they have to be lore. I mean, listen, I love power creep as much as the next person, but that would be silly.
Crazy.
You might be able to do like a different rank, right? Like you might, well, I've got one best, one second best, one third best, maybe, but they're probably going to be lore grouped. Those things are just way too good.
Man, there's a question here that I'm just going to delete right here. See this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, no gesture. No. He knew exactly. He says, don't delete my message. No.
To be clear, like, and so this is just for everyone, right? Like, so we have an open communication policy, and when I say we, I mean me. Please don't ping Cata. Like, you can ping Cata under two circumstances. One, the server is on fire, and for some reason no one's around. Or two, you found an absolutely game-breaking exploit. Otherwise, please no.
But don't post how to do that exploit when you ping Cata.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
I found if I do this really quick, it just duplicates my sleeper augments just repeatedly.
It's weird.
So weird.
All of a sudden, so many of them. All right.
Acting Cata. That's funny.
All right. LMB Kid says, where were there any questions about shamans being kind of underwhelming? Question mark. Leopard? Question mark smiley face.
So we've explicitly decided against Leopard. However, that was an earlier discussion. If I were to look at all the classes and where they are at right now, I would probably say Shaman is the closest one to getting a little love. It's just we have to be careful about what kind of love, because they are still very strong. And we're actually getting to a point now with balance where every class is pulling their own weight in Planes of Power. So it's tough to... It's getting tougher to make balance changes because everyone is pretty solid. But yeah, like Kata said, it might come in, but it might be tweaked, right? You might not have the 300% proc rate. It might not last forever. But I am definitely open and looking at shamans. But it's not... They're not in such a bad spot that I'm like, oh my God, we need to fix them next patch type of a thing.
Cool. Free Juice asks, on live and TLPs, Rangers made a switch from bows to melee around the end of pop and Gates of Discord. Do you think this will happen on THJ, or will you try to keep Rangers as primarily bow users?
Rangers are bow users. It's the one thing, like, so Kata and I each have our things that we always saw as being something that should be. Rangers being bow users is mine.
So what is Brad supposed to do with that big flamey sword then?
He can equip it.
I'll just not use it.
No, it can look pretty. I mean, he can use it if he wants. This is your journey, hero. If you want to not headshot fools from 175 yards away, that's up to you.
So will the Ranger Epic 2.0 be geared away from melee? Interesting.
Yeah, so all Epic 1.0s were tweaked, and I would expect the 1.5 and the 2.0 to be tweaked as well. So stay tuned.
Thing. Baby, first, One Morning Coffee says, is there any thoughts on a way to make Druid Shaman have a quick heal? Currently, as it stands, if Quarm hits you for half your hit points from full health, Druids and Shamans do not have a fast enough heal to get you off before get you off. Well, you know, Freudian slip there. To get off before another round. It could, in theory, end the lives of hardcore players if Quarm gets 2 max rounds.
Yeah, I'm open to that. That's a legit request, and I'm very open to that. So maybe DM me to remind me. Actually, do this. If you can get me their current best heals, and then get me the comparable quick cleric heal, and let me look at that. But yeah, I'm open to that.
There you go. Nice coffee. Xiao Xiao asks, as a warrior, it feels like most of my damage comes from magic damage, which is kind of weird, especially now in pop. Also, with shield specialist, warriors seem to be pushed to use shields more almost exclusively outside of Rage of Ralosek. Is that intended?
I mean, if you feel compelled to do that, feel free. I find that the difference comes between people who min-max and people who play the way they want, right? Like, you play the way you want to play. Warriors can definitely hold their own under either situation. Is it better to have a shield on sometimes? Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of, it is what it is. And in terms of most damage coming from magic damage, so when I made the decision to give warriors RORZ, it gave them the ability to do magic damage. And I think it's a small enough window that it's effective, but also not like overpowering. So yeah.
There you go. Pizza asks, why does my druid bear die within 30 seconds of any encounter?
Probably because you don't have pet power 15 on when you're summoning it, and possibly because you don't have taunt off. But I can tell you, druid bear with pet power 15, and I think even 20, should not be dying automatically. They don't get rampaged anymore. Have taunt off. There's no reason your bear should be dying.
I think that the rampage might be a little bit bugged.
Yeah, it's definitely still hitting.
They're
pets.
definitely still getting ramped.
I'll report that. It's not supposed to. If taunt off, then does not receive rampage.
Pizza says, I have the time book and taunt is off.
Then that's a bug. Oh, I don't know if the time book affects the pet, man. I think it's just the Velius and Lucklin one. That might actually be something that I need to add. So maybe test with the Velius one, test with the Lucklin one, and then test with the Pop one. If it doesn't get as big and beefy as the other ones, then make a bug report.
Huh.
The book does. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Sin Fallon says, could SK, Shaman, and Druid pets get a little love? Not in the DPS way, but in the increased hit points or damage mitigation. They die so fast that it becomes a bother, some to even resummon them.
The only one I agree with on that is the SK pet. Both Shaman and Druid pets benefit from pet power. Both Shamans and Druids get a mitigation buff as a part of their haste spells. And as someone that has done most of pop with both of those classes, when they're not getting ramped, they are living just fine. Use G-Hold more often.
Let's see here. Xiao Xiao says, the Quarm fight sucks. Spamming Shield of the Immaculate the whole fight feels bad. I don't like that fight. It feels bad, bad, bad. Xiao Xiao, you need to learn etiquette. And also, Xiao Xiao, it's okay to say that it's not fun because you have to spam the shield.
Yeah, I don't actually have a response to this.
I mean, I will say, like, so because the fight mechanic is that the stupid little vortexes spam the slow. So if you're a melee, in order to, the only thing you have to do to combat that is effectively, if you're Variety Void, you feign death and let them run and attack your teammates. But if you're not,
That's a perfect technique.
then you have to spam the Shield of the Immaculate in order to keep the slow off you, and they literally just reapply it every time they hit you.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a little weird. It doesn't feel great, but yeah.
Someone said, "What? Hold on, real quick. One Morning Coffee said not all druids can use the pet summon items. So the prismatic scale off of Cara 100% can be used by druids, and that buff by itself is enough tankiness for them to live through everything if they're not being ramped. The fact that ramp is hitting them, yeah, they're good at that. That's just not supposed to be. And Cata just confirmed in chat that's a bug. So my apologies.
There you go. Gesture wants to let you know that you guys are doing a great job and that he's enjoying the server, and you should keep up the great work.
Agreed.
Indeed.
Scotty C says, Doppels are amazing. Please don't nerf. Thank you.
That makes me feel like something needs to be nerfed, but not tonight.
Whatever Scotty's playing, just check his account. I'm sure there's things in there that can be nerfed.
I heard about this cleric enchanter.
Shut your mouth.
Bard thing. I heard it's pretty good.
Oh, that is DDD still being casted by Doppels?
No, it's not.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's not. They actually, can I bring up, you guys got the Doppels casting Bard dots, and that is amazing. That feels great. I got to experience that for the first time in the last week, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, they're terrible. Enchanters suck. Never play one, guys.
I mean, they're gonna not.
It's okay. When it gets nerfed, it's because Variety Void VV. Okay. Over
I
there.
don't even play one.
Reyna, he was so stunned with Doppels, he didn't even have a heal on his bar today. It's true. I was having way too much fun with the Doppel stuff. Anyway, Cranium question part 2 on the Shaman buff follow-up. With so many bosses being very resistant to or completely resistant to dots, and pop endgame bosses having slow immune, Shaman does feel extremely worthless to play. It is just not an enjoyable place to play, and almost worthless, powerless, and I'm a cure bot. Can I actually answer this? Can I please? All right. I play a Shaman in 3 of my main builds, and I can tell you this. The bear is one of the most powerful regen bullshittery. Rabid bear is freaking nuts. And if you don't use Rabid Bear, then you're nuts. The regen that comes out of that and the constant crit heals that provides alongside Quiescence or Torpor or whatever other heal over time you're using is freaking it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And when you couple that alongside many, many other mechanics that Shamans have, or other builds that you're obviously going to be, or other classes rather, that you're going to be taking, it's really, really good. In addition to that, you have access to Malo and Malo, which currently stack, and then you can also stack Heroic Charisma. And I honestly, on pretty much every Shaman build that I have, don't get many resists at all ever by casting both of those spells. It is bonkers. And yes, the Shaman's poison line, practically not resistible by anything. It lands on everything, but I think Emperor Syrah. I think he's like the only thing it doesn't land on. So
That makes sense too.
yeah, they're really, really really good. The problem is, and I had a hard time getting over this myself initially, is they're not the same class they are on live. Like the buffs operate differently here. And so that took me wrapping my head around it to really see how good they possibly can be in making those adjustments. But aside from that, I really enjoy it. I think I have like 175 heroic charisma somewhere in there.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I just had to throw that in there because I used to share the shamans were kind of, but upon further inspection, they're actually really, really good. And Mijas asked a question, and we're just going to delete this, okay? Right here. No. Do you want to say anything on top of that, Aporia?
Oh, there's nothing to say to that.
Okay. No. I mean, like the question itself.
Oh no, you hit that left and right. That was fantastic. But I'll follow up with that.
Mm-hmm.
All of what he said is true, and I'm still looking at some tweaks to Shaman. So, yeah.
Yeah, and when Omens of War comes out, and Monk. But when Omens of War comes out and they get their epic and they get Talisman of the Wulnin and they get like, there's just so many things that, man, I'm actually scared that if they buff them now, like it might need balancing later. And that's something that, you know, as like it's not my job to do that stuff. Thank Jesus. But like, that's something they have to consider when they look at like balancing that stuff out and try to add power to things, because a slight nudge today could mean falling off a cliff tomorrow. All right. Fat Matt Loves Spaghetti says, can we charge people 10 EOM to post the acronyms want to say? Jesus fucking. Goodbye, Matt. Nerd Navigator says, Melee Doppels, Mom said to wait till after pop for that question again.
I'll say this. Apparently Doppels need to be nerfed in some way. So maybe when we nerf them in that way, we'll give them melee.
Nice. Hell yeah.
What if what needs to be nerfed is melee?
Whoa.
Oh, asking the hard-hitting questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. We're going on 2 hours of questions, and my answers are getting worse and worse.
Okay, yeah, we are. You know what? We're do you feel comfortable with what's here? And then we'll turn this off.
We can finish it.
All right. So we're gonna stop the question input, and we're gonna answer these. So melee doppels, you know, adjustments maybe. Wunchi, the slow on Quorum is a problem for classes that only heal through roars or another form of not healing with spells, bard songs, and shield help, but it still seems a little extreme. So I guess that's some feedback about that earlier question.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm always open to look into slows, but there's also, this is the other thing too that we talked about earlier. Like as time goes on, there's a couple tweaks in terms of difficulty we want to make. I'm willing to look at that, but in general, you know, Quorum, it's the final boss, you know. So.
Yep. Let's see. Daymodius, do you plan on adjusting bows in Gates of Discord and higher expansions?
If they need it, absolutely. So we did a bunch of passes on two-handed weapons that increased their damage. Bows did not receive that because through GOD, Rangers were still pumping. And a part of that is because of our decision to allow arrows to have their own proc strings, basically. So we might increase bows because there's already precedence for it that we did it with two-handers, but at the same time, a small change on bow damage can be a pretty big thing overall for Rangers. So we'll play it by ear, but I'm not closed off to it at all.
Okay. Do you see what Cata's saying?
Yeah, but I mean, we've had this conversation. He doesn't like there. So there are certain mechanics and there are certain things that people have always used in EverQuest that he doesn't necessarily like. But at the end of the day, it's loved by people, right? So it is what it is. It's not, it's not on the chopping block. So.
And Cata likes Vexthal as one of his favorite zones, so his opinion's invalidated.
Sky. Ugh.
Yep. I understand. Okay. Mijas, I really liked you up until now. Can we nerf Shamans so they cannot stack Mala and Malo? I think when you leave this party today, Mijas, you might get beat down in the parking lot.
Well, that's awesome. So here's a question for Kata, who just randomly started throwing stuff into chat again. Kata, this is a complete hypothetical, so listen well. Would it be possible for Shaman slows only to always be at least 10% effective or something to that degree?
Ooh.
You know, they have like a disease spell line. You could utilize something with that. That actually used to be the way that used to work.
Okay. It's good to know that there's a knob for that. Okay, cool. I would be open to Shamans having their niche with slow being possible on everything, but maybe not to a huge degree. No, we're not talking about class quirks on Firelight. This is the perfect time to end this. So what's the last question?
The last question is, thanks so much for your time here tonight, Aporia. 2 hours is so much of your time, but we appreciate it.
Look, I've had so many conversations with Kata. I think the most important thing that I can personally do is, aside from trying to give direction and balance and just keep things running, is to interact with the community, because we are quite literally nothing without you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough to listen to this for 2 hours. We love you guys. Thanks for being here, and look forward to more fixes coming between now and the weekend. Look forward to the upcoming Easter event that Kata is apparently cool with us sharing. There's going to be some big bags being awarded. And yeah, guys, just let's keep doing it. High fives.
Hell yeah. Bags.
Just make sure Broken doesn't get one for me, please.
You're making it really hard not to make sure that all these 183 people don't completely bombard your parcel with necklaces.
Do it. I won't.
I'm fairly certain that I can script any time he has an Easter bag equipped that it turns into a temporary item.
Oh my God. Can you really? I would actually, just $1,000 donation right now to the server. Just critic one.
What the shit?
Pretty sure.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just remember this day. Okay. April 3rd of 2025, you declared war. It was that day you lost.
The month of many pearls.
No, all I gotta say is, don't forget I used to work in prisons, and I know and have learned things that will be less than kind, less than fun.
The month of dehydration?
What are you gonna say? What are you gonna pocket pull me or something?
I mean, the best part of pocket pull is away games.
If you could even just use that correctly, I gotta go.
Perfect timing.
Oh boy. Guys, thank you so much. Aporia, I appreciate you. Variety Void, I appreciate you. You guys are absolutely sexy, awesome guys. I appreciate you coming in here. Kata, if you're still listening, I think you're listening. I love you too. Thank you so much for joining in and answering these wonderful questions. Getting better and better every week. So let's keep them coming. Yeah. Gonna mute nails. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have about 4 minutes until another ad starts, and I'd just like to talk about our fancy art competition. We have 184 people in here, and I just would like you guys to all know that Raina and myself are actually throwing a little art competition. We can do traditional art, you can do digital art, whatever you so choose. There's actually going to be multiple categories that's going to allow for people who do traditional art to not have to compete against people who are doing digital art or AI art, I should say. And there's going to be 200 EOM in the prize pool, which I am furnishing myself. That is going to be out there for you guys to win. All you got to do is type !event in the old stream chat, and it'll pop up all the details. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to join my Discord, and you're going to submit it into the event art participation, art submissions section. Pretty cool, pretty sweet. Ooh, bam, that thing exploded. At any rate, this fun little event is going to, you're going to have up until April 20th, 420, big 420. What happens on that day? Which is also Easter. You're going to have up until that day to submit your art. And then on the 27th of April, we're going to do a special stream where we're going to judge all of your art. We're going to look at it. We're going to break it down to the little nitty gritty. No, we're actually not going to do that. We're going to show people your art. We're going to look at the art. We're going to go over all the different submissions and talk about our favorites. And if there's enough participation, we may also be granting additional categories such as funniest piece of art, most alluring piece of art, most on the nose piece of art. And the art should consist of either your favorite character in THJ or your favorite memory since you've been playing in THJ. And if your favorite memory just so happens to be putting pearl necklaces in your parcel and mailing them to Variety Void, there may or may not be bonus points. I may or may not be biased. Just saying. Love you all. For those of you hanging out, thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. Thank you so much for chilling. This is another great week, another great Q&A. I'm going to get this baby edited up, and I'll fire it out on the old YouTube. And as usual, I'll post it over in the THJ Discord as well as my own Discord. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for all the gifted subs and the great freaking stream we had today. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. Now, where are we going to put... Where's this raid going? Where is this raid going? Let's see here. Let us see. I know... Ooh, we got a THJ. Oh. How many THJs do we have? I only see one. What? No bro. I don't see no bro Annie. It's late. Shouldn't bro Annie be streaming? Oh my god, there's a lot of streamers, though. Twister 2009. Bro Annie is streaming. What the heck? Really? He didn't just pop up in my stream. Same category. Where is he? Short Ram. Where's my bro? Where's my brony? My bro Tato. Nova. Jeffy Pop. Oh, he's doing a charity stream. Where's my bro Tato? Pool boy. No, I literally don't see bro Annie. He does not pop up in my raid list. I know I follow him. Let me see if he shows up over here. Quatos. We got a Quatos. Nerdy Barb. There he is. Ooh. His stream is starting soon. So he hasn't started yet, guys. But we're going to go ahead and rate him anyway. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in today. You guys are all awesome. Today was a great Q&A. Thank you so much for being polite and respectful. It really does make these things go smoother. And while it's fun to have fun and poke around and jest, it is also important to show these people who are taking the time to talk to us the respect and politeness and etiquette that they deserve. So thank you again. Again, tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Love y'all. Submit your art. Bye.